We are going to use the Casio 85 GT to do calculations found in BS 7671. In this instance we are using the voltage drop calculations for cables of 16mm squared or less and cables over 16mm squared. First, let's take a look at the function buttons we are going to use in this video. First example is the simple fraction of 50 over 10, which will equal 5. The function button shown here puts the two boxes on the screen with the cursor in the top box. We enter 50 in the top box, and using the cursor direction button we move the cursor into the lower box and then enter 10. To complete the calculation, use the cursor direction button to the right and press the equals button. As we already know, the answer displayed is 5. The next example shows the top line containing a multiplication of two numbers. This time we enter 50 multiplied by 2 in the top square, 10 in the lower, and always remember to move the cursor to the right before pressing the equals button. The third example introduces the use of brackets. We always calculate the contents of brackets first, and in this instance we have two sets of brackets within an overall set of brackets. As is seen, the calculation is reproduced on the display of the calculator. At this point we are going to convert angles into cosine and sine, and then doing the inverse of cosine and sine, i.e. converting cosine and sine back into angles by using the shift function. We use the same sine and cosine buttons, but first we use the shift button. Okay, so now we've learnt a few of the functions on the calculator, let's put them to use. First example is for a 6mm squared twin and earth cable being chosen for a cooker circuit. The design current is 30 amps and the length of the circuit is 10 meters. The values for millivolts per amp per meter are taken from table 4D5 and we have a value of 7.3. We enter the values into the formula as described, and on the screen is a log of keystrokes to guide you. The next example is for cables over 16mm squared. When we look at the tables for cables over 16mm squared, it can be seen there are three columns: R resistance, X reactance, and Z impedance. When the power factor is known, columns R and X are used in the formula. Cosine is equal to the power factor, which is 0.8. Sine can be calculated as previously described, or can be taken from the accompanying table.